on how to string a classical guitar, but my opinion of it is it's really more about how to string through this. So I'm going to do that for about 30 seconds, but on the real classical guitars, they run a string underneath, and you don't have any guitars like that, so why bother to learn that part? So I can hand you out that thing, but all you need to do now is learn about how this one works, and this is what's different about this guitar. These don't have the strings go through the body like the solid bodies. The strings are stuck in here, so they use these little posts. There's a word for them, I can't remember. But if you see right now the string that's broken, well, I can't get it out because there's a stupid post in the way, so I have to pull that post out. And generally, I do use my little cutters. I don't cut it, but I use it to pry it out. There's actually a tool you can buy, but I always use my little blue, there, things. And what you want to do is very gently, don't squeeze anything, but you stick it underneath here. See, these aren't even actually big enough. So I'm going to use my other tool. These are little pliers. Leatherman, I should be their salesman. But I got to pull out that little white post. But I want to show you how that string goes in there. I go like this. I pull that out, and this comes out, okay? So these are the same kind of strings. You still string it pretty much the same way. The only thing that's different about this one is, see how this one's there's 3 on the side and 3 on the other side? So what you do, it always goes to the inside. So I do these 3. This guitar has not been strung correctly at all. This is a mess. I don't know who did this. I tried to forget them, but I'll have trouble sleeping. So I'm just saying right now, whoever did this, look, this string is going around that guy. This is insanity. We're lucky that this guitar is still, I'm going to restring this guitar right now. But what we're talking about is these posts. So what you do is you take the string with the ball, and you take the ball and you stick it down the hole, and you stick it farther than it needs to go, because it actually only has to go down about 1.5 inches. But you stick it farther than it needs to go, and see how this white thing has a little slot? And the slot catches the string, so you make sure that slot's facing, and you go like this, and you push it down like that, and then you pull the string through. And the idea is that if the string is caught between this and the slot, then it holds. See how that's holding really good? Okay? So everybody see that? So what you do is you stick the string in there farther than it needs to be. Take this guy, have the slot be guided along the string edge. You push this down with the string in there farther than it needs to be. Hold this button down, then you pull the string up, and the string will get caught. And then once it's caught, it's held. Okay? Don't cut the strings and let them go pop. I mean, that can happen on occasion, but that's very hard on the guitar. It's hard on the neck. And the neck, generally most of these things have what's called a tension rod. It's a piece of metal that goes down here, and the idea is that it's held so that it kind of keeps this wooden neck from bowing. And that tension rod, when it gets jerked around like that, can mess up. So we're going to do the same thing I did before. So this is actually a good lesson, how to unstring a guitar. So I'm going to go ahead and I play the string, and when I turn this, I know that's the wrong way because it's going up. It would break if I tuned it, keep going. So I go this way, turn it down, and now it's, and look, this is only through one loop. Look, I can pull this off right now. That's not very good. Okay? So I'm going to take this guy out. Now the other thing I like to do, don't get me wrong, guys on tour will sit there and they will take all 6 strings off at once and restring it. But actually, if you got the time, it's much better to do 1 or 2 at a time, because then you don't put a lot of strain on the neck. And also, depending on the guitar, on Taylor's, this is a Fender, it's not really that expensive guitar. These little guys are actually cut to size for the different strings, so it's always good to do 1 to 1. So on this guitar here, if you don't mind, I'm going to string it 1 to 1. So this string right now can go in the circular receptacle. And then let's get a set of good strings. I brought some really killer strings. I brought some Martin Marquis. Let's see what those green things. Yeah, these are like a $30 set of strings. These are really good. So we're going to pull those out, and you're going to tell me which one's the 6th. Yeah, if you need to go, it's fine. We're just doing it.
Great.
Oh, well, thank
so
you.
Much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, he's on the clock. Yeah, I'm here until 12:30. Oh, well, good. All right. So what we're doing here is we're going to restring an acoustic guitar, and there's 2 lessons here. I'm going to do 2 strings at a time, and I think you're right. I do believe that actually, this is the 6th, that this guitar has 2 E strings on it. Usually that.
4, 3, and 6.
So it's the same way. I don't know. I've got sets of strings that they bag all 6, but now it seems like most of them do come like that with 2 strings in a set. Okay. You know, also I know that's too thick. This is called the nut, bridge, nut. The nut holds the strings like the bridge, and it has slots to hold the strings, right? This string here When I went to pull it out because it was the wrong size string, it was in there very tightly. Because this net is not designed for that thick a string to be at that position, just so you know. Alright? And I'm gonna do 3 at a time. So I'm gonna do this guy here. Now here's another good idea to do if you're doing this all at once, is to have some sort of cloth and clean this part here, because this kind of gets gunked up. It's not too bad, I'm not gonna worry about it. But if you have any kind of clean, damp cloth, no fluids, if there's guitar polish, that's a different thing. But essentially to get the gunk off, you just need a clean polish, and you wanna kind of rub this stuff and get the gunk, that's finger gunk, out of it. Right? Now this one's been wrapped about a half dozen times, so that's not good. But watch, when I get done, this guitar will sound very good. And then I can play you a bunch of like really lame songs.
So you're an electrician in a guitar?
I have an audio video contracting firm that I run. I also write music. I have a couple things I've done. I've actually got a couple people that played songs. Some of them, none of them have become hits.
It's the only time I ever see you come in here doing all the video stuff.
Audio video playing, you gotta do something to make money. It's funny. There's the A, and the A, and this is the E. So they're all clear. We're just throwing those. Those will go in the trash. Okay. So let's start off with my 6th, which is called a. What note is it?
E.
E. That's right. All right. So let's put that 6 in there.
And that's this one.
All right. So that's the thickest one. So again, I take the string, I stick it down the hole, farther than it needs to go. I take my post. There's a word for this. I don't know the name of it. I like to think I'm brilliant. But whatever this is called, you stick this all the way down and hold it, and then you pull the string up, and you're going to get it locked, because that's what it does. I don't even know how that works, but it works. All right. So there's that. All right. And now, I usually try and get myself to where I've got like the guitar against my body, but obviously I got to work on this end, so you don't want it to fall. I'm doing something like this, all right? So again, I got my tuner halfway, right? So the hole's like this. Everybody see that? And then I stick this guy through.
I got a question. Is it better to redo all the strings at one time?
Okay, yeah, I already went over that. It's, you mean in terms of replacement?
Yes.
Always replace them all at the same time if you can, because it's just a good way to do it. But if you have a guy who just started playing and broke a string, usually you'll have the high strings break, and some people will keep extra high strings. And one thing about the high strings, I don't know if you saw these, but the EAD strings, and sometimes the G, depending on the thickness, have this winding around. It looks like it's got that thing. But if you look at these higher strings, they're just a straight piece of metal. Well, those strings are not so, like how I explain, in other words, except for gunch that they get on them, they don't really make much sound difference. These guys, as soon as you start playing with your fingers, in a matter of just a day, there's a difference in tone on these guys. So that's good. So I'm pulling this guy, and I'm looking at that guy, and here's my tension I'm creating, okay? So I go like that, I got my tension, I put this guy on up, and then I start my wrap. So I'm doing this, and I'm not using my little black cool thing, but I'm going like this, and I wrap it. And I see that it's laying there in the net. I do that. Now, one thing I'm gonna do, just so I have some reality, is I'm gonna play an E note. Now, I want you to try and find that E for me on that piano that matches this guy. Is this an A?
Yeah, that's the next one. A, yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's have you hit a note on that you think would be the E. Oh, my parole officer, just a second.
I think it is.
Hit it hard.
I think it's E.
That's right, hold it though. And that's right. That's right. And supposedly, I'll tell you something that happens. Once you put the strings on there, watch this. I'm just going to pull on a little bit. You really shouldn't be doing this too much, but I'm just showing you something. I have not moved the thing, but now let's play it. It's not right. It's because it takes a while for the string to stretch out and get good. So generally, you have to kind of fine tune it as you go. Hit that note again. I'm going to bring it up again. Now you watch. A little bit later on, I'll need